Hey folks, I'm just leaving work. Gotta get back for the Dev Leader live stream, which is every Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific. If you haven't heard, I'll remind you at the end of this talk as well. We're gonna go to ExperiencedDevs for the topic today, because we love ExperiencedDevs subreddit. And this one is from someone asking about how to be productive. And they said not like just at work, but like kind of asking about like outside of work. How do you get productive? And we've talked about this on this channel before, and I think it's an interesting topic because I think there's a lot of different ways to look at this. Different things work for different people. And then, of course, we have to be reminded that, like, we're not robots, right? And so this kind of topic is important to me because I like making sure we can talk about productivity. I think talking about burnout is really important. So there's a whole bunch of things in and around this that I think are enjoyable for me to talk about and also like beneficial to tie together. I gotta pull this wallet out of my back pocket. It's not that there's like there's not money in there. It'd be nice if there was, but there isn't. But that's digging into my butt. Okay, so I think, you know, I'm glad to see it like right at the top of the comments. And I only kind of glanced at like the first one or two, but you know, people jumping in kind of right away to be like, hey, like you know, if you're feeling like you're trying to be productive like over the weekend and like outside of work and stuff, like there's a reason why you start to hit a bit of a wall. And it's like you do need to have like a mental break. It's not sustainable. It's not realistic to be able to push 100% of the time and like, you know, be perfectly productive, because it will burn you out. And when we talk about things like burnout, do you guys know who, not that you can respond to me, but do you know who Dr. K is? He's a psychiatrist. I believe that's what his title would be, if I'm not mistaken, but he's a YouTuber and a therapist. Is this person gonna... it's a bus. Is this bus gonna go in front? Anyway, he's like very popular on YouTube, but I really love the way he walks through things, and he'll actually do like therapy sessions with people that they've agreed to, obviously, and like he'll show them on YouTube and stuff, and like he'll do it with like people that are popular on social media and stuff. Like obviously it draws attention, but he was talking about burnout with, I think he was talking with the Primogen about burnout, and so obviously, like that's very, very relevant here. And he was saying, like, and I'm gonna butcher it, but this idea that it's interesting when people talk about burnout. One of the things that they do is they go, "Well, I got to stop doing a bunch of things," and he's like, "That's not quite right." He was like, I wish I should have like written it down, but he talked about burnout being this thing where it's more like you're doing a lot and not feeling like you're getting, it's not that you weren't getting results, a lot of effort for not a lot of like result, basically. So you're doing work that feels like it's meaningless almost. Again, I'm butchering it, I apologize, but if you watch Dr. K's sort of like session with the Primogen or Prime, he does a really good job of explaining that. When I heard him saying it, I was like, holy crap, like it feels very relevant, because for myself, like I am someone who tries to be very productive, and I don't like burnout isn't just from doing a lot of stuff, but I've talked about earlier this year, if you watch some of my older videos from earlier this year, saying like, hey, like I hit a period of burnout very fast, and yes, I was doing a lot, but I was already doing a lot of stuff and wasn't burnt out from it. So I think it's like the type of work that was getting done is what caused me to burn out. So let's beat the light. Can we do it? Buddy, watch out. Watch out, pal. Okay, why is everyone stopping before getting on the highway? We need to accelerate to get onto the highway, folks. One sec. Okay. So I think that's a really important thing to address kind of early on when we talk through this, is that, like, don't get me wrong, I think it's easy for people to fall into a productivity trap where they're like just more and more and more, and they're like, no, I have to keep doing it, and then you burn out from it. But I thought that it was very helpful framing for Dr. K to talk about this as if it's not just the amount of what's getting done, it's actually the type of work that can cause burnout. And again, it really resonated with me, so I wanted to kind of just like reshare that with folks. So again, I thought in the Reddit thread it was very good that people were calling this kind of thing out, and I do think that it's important that people do take breaks. I personally struggle with this a lot, where like I love video games, right? I love to play video games. I grew up playing role-playing games. I would play, for folks that know, like Diablo 2. I remember being a teenager, and like I would wake up, roll over to my computer, play Diablo, and then at some point late in the evening, like roll back out of my chair into my bed and go to sleep. Like, and that's just what I did. I played Diablo. I loved it. And so I love role-playing games, and I love playing games, but I feel like guilty is probably the closest word. I feel guilty when I play video games. I feel like I'm not being productive. I feel like there's something else I should be doing, because I don't just like want to rot playing video games, but I periodically need to remind myself, like, hey man, like your brain needs a break. You need that. And it's really weird now, because when I play video games, like I haven't finished a video game. I couldn't tell you the last video game I finished. Right? Like Expedition 33, everyone was raving about it. I'm like, I gotta try it. Like, I love role-playing games. Everyone's saying this is incredible. Started playing, and I'm like, this is incredible. It's so much fun. It's really hard. It's a good challenge, but like story's amazing. And I've stopped. And I think I start cutting myself off now, because I don't know when this started happening, but I just like cut myself off now. And I think it's good, because like the way my personality is, like I want to keep playing. I don't know how to stop myself. So something's changed where like I am naturally stopping myself, and I think it's actually very good. But I like I said, I keep trying to remind myself it's not something I should feel guilty about. I need to make sure that I am taking breaks. I think if I think about my own, what's a good way to frame this up? I wasn't always like this from like a productivity perspective, like outside of work. Oh man, I hate when bikes drive up like that. I feel like that's asking for a problem, but anyway, I've talked about on this channel where I said, like even as an intern, in terms of being like a software developer and stuff, before I had my first internship, I had been programming for a lot of years. So I'm not saying like I was a programming guru, whiz kid, but I felt like, hey, in an internship, the things that they're asking me to do, I can do pretty well. But I also I just didn't give a shit. It's probably the best way to put it. Like, I'm a kid. I want to play video games. Like when it's 5 o'clock, I'm out of here. Right? Like I'm going to work on the tasks you give me, but I'm not going above and beyond. I just don't care. And it wasn't until I started working full-time until that switched. And then, like, for work, at least, it was like, I'm very motivated for work. I'm very engaged in work, and I'm going to bust my ass. But it wasn't a thing outside of work. So, I worked for many years, worked super long hours, worked weekends because I enjoyed doing it. But, yeah, like, I don't know. I wasn't making content. I wasn't trying to, like, have side businesses. I play video games if I need to relax, or I'd go out and, like, go to the bars, or just kick back and relax. Not that I was going to bars a lot, but if it's a weekend and I had friends visiting, we're going to go out, we're going to go have fun. And I don't know, like, my life is very different now. When I left Magnet Forensics and started working for Microsoft, I think I kind of looked at my time outside of work like, I need to, I don't know what the right way to kind of frame it is, but, like, I need to make the most out of this time. I think it was a bit of a couple things, like a reset point for me to be like, obviously I have to bust my ass at work. Like, my work ethic's not going to change. That's kind of ingrained in me now. But, like, I need to be the one who's investing into myself. So that means for, like, content creation, like, I want that to be a thing. I want my personal brand to be strong. Okay, no one's going to do that for me except me. Right? If I want to start a side project that turns into a business, no one's going to do that for me except me. All of these things, like, need to be done for me. And I don't know. I think I never worried about it before. Before Microsoft, because I probably had in my mind, like, my future's kind of set, I guess. And so, like, don't worry about it, right? Like, kind of put in the time, put in the effort, future's kind of set. And I think that changed for me dramatically, where it's like, hey, look, like, it's, things don't just, basically, if you're sitting back waiting, you're going to be disappointed if you just expect that, like that I'm going to have the life that I want to have, I guess, is probably the way I'd put that. So yeah, like, productivity has become a really big thing for me. But if I think about how Dr. K framed up that whole point around burnout, and I think about my own experiences with burnout, and I think about how I try to stay productive, I think something that has worked well for me is that I have several things that are, call them hobbies, they're interests, let's say. I have several interests that I can rotate between that are all like a productivity thing. I'm going to give you the comparison that's different, okay? So if I go back to when I was working at Magnet Forensics, I didn't have productivity things that I would rotate between. I had, I, like, modified cars, so I'd be spending a lot of time doing car shows. I would drive everywhere to take my car to car shows. Spending time in shops, because my car was always in shops. Video games. What else? Like, my life wasn't really that exciting, but, like, the stuff I was spending time on. So it's also worth mentioning too, like, for social media, before I took this kind of content creation seriously, because I was doing a lot of car shows and stuff, I ran, like, social media for my modified car, which might sound weird to some people, but if you're in the car scene, that's probably not that unusual. to you. So I would spend a lot of time, like, trying to meet up with photographers, or I was trying to learn how to do photography as well. But sure, like maybe if I stuck with that, that could have been something that was like turn that into a, getting sponsors, making that a productivity thing. It was the worst decision, like financially. So I don't recommend that to anyone, but, like I would rotate my time between those things, or like I said, going out with friends and stuff on weekends, and like nothing I did was productive. And usually what would happen is, like, if I had something where I'm like, hey, I want to go do this, like I've mentioned this before, I want to go build, write some program, I want to go do something, I would often catch myself being like, hey, if you're going to go like spend time, like, or like waste your time building stuff, like why don't you just do it for work? Because like they reward you for it. It has a positive impact. Like it's almost not worth your time and effort to go build other stuff when you could be building for work. And I would revert to that. But it's like I said, it's very different now. And I think a lot of the things that I rotate between are productivity things. So to give you an example, if I even just talk about content creation, right? If I want to spend time on content creation, I could be researching YouTube video ideas. I have multiple channels. Where I can go making content for either programming tutorials. I could be trying to get a head start on what Code Commute topics do I want to go through if I don't have questions waiting. I could be trying to network for podcast interviews. I could go back, like I haven't written a technical blog article in well over a year. Like I could go write blog articles. I was spending a lot of time doing that. I could be spending more time on social media, responding to comments and finding new people to engage with. Like all of that from a content creator perspective, there's a lot of things that I could be spending time, even just in that space, rotating between. But again, like for me personally, even if I'm rotating between different YouTube channels and different forms of creating content, that would burn me out for sure. This is why I will never be like an influencer. I am I am someone who is, I am a software engineer, I am a software engineering manager, and I happen to create content. It's not the other way around. My life could not be about making content because it's simply not fulfilling enough. I enjoy doing it, but it's not like the rest of my life, or my entire life, I mean. Okay, so that's one part. Okay, well, what else? Okay, well, I build Brand Ghost on the side. So I am trying to build software that is a side business where we have paying customers. Cool. So like I could invest time in that. And there's things within that I could rotate between. I could go building out more features. I could be reaching out to existing customers. I could be trying to acquire new customers, right? Like I could be researching what competitors are doing and trying to see like if we should or could incorporate those things. There's so much to rotate in between on that. Okay, I have like in addition to the content research, like something that I try to keep myself on my toes more is like for packages and stuff that I can go building like software with. Like I need to go spend more time researching that kind of stuff and practice building with it. I can't go make a YouTube on some topic if I've never used the thing before. So I'm trying to pay a little bit more attention to that kind of stuff. Spending time that way, and it's a productivity thing. There's like I do not like super actively, but I do some real estate investment. So like, okay, like do I have something where am I researching an area? Am I researching like partners to invest with? Like that's something else I can spend time with. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that I can rotate between. And even in those examples, like within a given domain, I can still rotate there. And I think what's nice about that is that when I'm feeling like something is burning me out, instead of just being like, oh, I can't do anything, I'm like, no, let me go look over here. Like, here's another thing I do where I can be productive. And I think that's helped me tremendously get a lot of stuff done because I can pick productive things and move between them. I really got to switch lanes here. You guys got to let me in. I don't know. There's got to be an accident because this is like the craziest lineup I've seen in a long time. Ugh. So again, bringing this back to the Dr. K thing is like, I believe that one of the reasons I don't get like crazy burnout from doing a bunch of stuff is because I'm picking things that I enjoy doing, and then when I start to get like tired from them too much, I have to be proactive about spending more time and attention on other things. And if I'm constantly rotating between them enough, then that feeling of being burnt out from them doesn't creep up as fast because there's enough things to rotate between. And I really believe that that's helping a lot. So I'm not telling you this because I'm like, oh, like it's simple, like just do too many things and you'll never burn out. Not the case. I just mean that I've been fortunate enough to identify things where I can satisfy that productivity urge. Like there's something in me that's like, you need to be spending your time doing productive things with things that I enjoy that are productive. And I'm going to need some focus very soon because we got to get over to this fast lane before it's cut off. This is just brutal. This guy's got a plasti-dipped car. That's real weird. Plasti-dip is a lot more common in the US, it seems, than in Canada where I'm from. Like, people have plasti-dip, but like seeing a whole car plasti-dipped is not really a thing. It happens, but it's very rare in Canada from my experience. Okay, one more lane to get over. So if I'm thinking about like recommendations for this person, right, is like, number one, definitely don't want to suggest like you just give up your life and the things you're interested in just to be productive, to say that you're productive. Like, that's not good. I would try to be like clear and focused about what areas you're trying to improve in, right? Is that, you know, for you, are you trying to be more productive because you want to learn new things? Are you trying to understand things that you know even better? Are you trying to, I don't know, like, are you trying to make money on this side? Like, is that one of the goals? Like, what are the goals? This person needs to not follow so close with their plasti-dip car. Because if that plasti-dip car touches mine, oh boy, not going to be okay. But I think that's part one, is like figure out like what are the things that you're trying to be productive with. Because if you don't know that and it's just like, I feel like I'm wasting time and I need to be productive, like I feel like you can kind of steer yourself into a weird spot. That's part one. Then I think from there you want to make sure that you like don't just dedicate all of your your waking moments to that thing. I think it's probably good to set aside some time box it, right? Like, so say for example, I want to learn new programming topics. Cool. Like, how much time do you feel like you can dedicate towards that? Right? On a Saturday, right? Can you dedicate 1 hour every Saturday to it? Could you dedicate a couple hours? Like, try to pick something that doesn't feel like after 1 week you're going to be like, I hate my life and I can't imagine doing this again. So start small. Start with something where you're like, this feels like it's not going to be a strain. I can try it. And when I say a strain, I should clarify too, like, some people, when they talk about how much they have going on outside of work and all of that, they're like, I don't have any free time. So when I'm saying it's not a strain, if you prioritize this and you don't have other free time, you're probably giving up some other something else. So it might be a strain on the things you already do, But what I'm trying to get at is it's not a strain on, like, you know, you're not going to sit there for 8 hours and try to program straight and not get up from a desk. Like, that's probably going to cause you some strain from that, or you're not going to want to do that thing. So start small with it. You can always add more if you find that you can, you know, dedicate more focus, time, and energy to it. So I would look at that. I would give some thought into, like, what does it look like to, oh my God, what's on the road here? Like metal pieces. What a terrible drive so far. Give some thought into, like, what taking rest is going to look like. So again, the goal is not to eliminate rest and say, well, you know, we'll sleep when we're dead. My life is productivity. What does it look like to rest? Like, again, for me, I feel fortunate that I have things where I can take a break from working on Brand Ghost, which sometimes very much feels like a job. And I'm like, cool, like, I'm gonna go research, like, some cool NuGet packages that I've seen people talking about so I can try them out. Sometimes me switching between programming for Brand Ghost and just, like, programming a dummy project or something, like, even though it's programming, that's a context switch, and I might go from being, like, frustrated or, like, feeling a little bit burnt out to, like, hey, this is pretty cool, like, this is enjoyable. So for me, that's something that works. Not perfectly all the time, but it doesn't have to be, well, I have to go to sleep, or I have to meditate, or I have to watch TV or read a book. But if you want those things, like, give it some conscious thought around what types of things are you going to use for rest. So I think that's important, right? You don't just want to, like, eliminate all these things and say, no, it's only productivity. So that's another thing that I think is important. Oh, man. This highway is such garbage. What else? I'm running a little low on steam because this drive is pretty crap. I think physical activity of some sort getting incorporated is going to be helpful. I know we're talking about productivity, but I'm trying to mention, like, some ideas for breaks, because I'm trying to channel some of that from the Reddit thread, because I believe it, right? If you're trying to fill your time with, like, things I'm going to be productive with, what are the things that are going to help you either move around, think about different things, relax your brain? Like, again, like, for me, sometimes it's giving my brain different challenges. I know that sounds like maybe weird to some people. It's like, well, if you're stressed out from this thing, thinking a lot, shouldn't you just do nothing? But, like, I don't like doing nothing, if that makes sense. Like, I don't like watching TV. I really don't enjoy watching TV at all, because I would rather be doing something. And that doesn't mean it has to be productive. Like, I would rather play video games than watch TV, because I'm at least doing something. There's something about sitting still and not doing anything that kind of I just don't enjoy. So for me, I think that's why it works really well if I context switch and, oh, I'm solving different problems now, like, this is fun again. I think that works. But I understand that's not going to be the case for everyone else. It's fine. Okay, buddy, let's go. I don't understand how people get in the fast lane and then go below the speed limit. It's very odd. Like, what? Pick a different lane. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, physical activity, like, for me, I do CrossFit now. I was going to say I like doing CrossFit. I don't like doing CrossFit. It's hard, but I think getting some time in the gym for me is the way to go. For some people, that might be going for a walk. Could be, you play a sport on a team. Whatever, go do something. I think being able to break up what you're doing with something physical doesn't have to be like extremely taxing, but just doing something else and moving around, I think, could be really helpful. But that just goes back to making sure that you have some balance, because I think that's key. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to probably start repeating myself, but to summarize, right, having some goals in mind for like, what are you trying to be productive with? Trying to do some time boxing, starting off small. I think that's important. Coming up with things that you're going to consciously consider for rest, so that when you're like, oh, I got to cut out all of this, it's like, no, you need some of it. And try to do a better job than I do about feeling guilty for things. If you're going to feel guilty for resting, like, no, it's okay. I've had, I'm not saying that from following all these, like, I never get burnout. There's definitely times where, especially if I've had, like, I don't know, like a week where I'm on call or something. Like, I was actually on call for almost a month straight, by the way, which is pretty challenging. So, like, past month for me has been kind of like, when work is done, my brain's a little bit fried. It's just kind of how it is. And I've definitely had some evenings where I go, okay, like, work's done, like, it's time for me to go solve, like, interesting challenges for me. Like, it's my time to go do this. And there's some times where I'm just like, I actually can't. Like, I acknowledge, like, I need to go get some sleep. And I'll just go to bed early. Like, this happened this past weekend on Saturday and Sunday. On Saturday in particular, I went to bed way earlier. And it was just me trying to acknowledge, like, hey, look, like, you're fried right now. It's just how it is. Like, I have to give myself a little bit of, I don't know, like, room to breathe that way. And so I went to bed early on Saturday. I slept, and I woke up super early on Sunday, but I felt great. I felt like $1,000,000. I started my Sunday off nice and early, and then it's like, great, I'm already back to being super productive, or feeling that way at least. So that feels good to me. But, like, I think if I would have tried to push through on the Saturday and been like, no, you haven't put in enough, like, you haven't done enough content creation. Like, I'm behind on resume reviews for Dev Leader Path to Tech, the YouTube channel right now. And I wanted to get more done on the weekend, and I simply didn't. Like I said, Saturday I was just fried. But, like, if I would have stayed up to try doing more resume reviews to catch up on them, my Sunday would have been wrecked. I would have done a crappy job on Saturday, then my Sunday would be wrecked. And then what am I actually getting done from a productivity perspective, right? Like, it's overall just crap, and so it's not worth it. So I think the more that you're, like, I don't know, have awareness of this stuff, the more that you can kind of tune what you're doing, and kind of listen to yourself. Like, if you haven't pushed your limits a little bit, you might not know what the signs are, and that's fine. But, like, and for other people, you might know right away, and you don't have to test your limits to know, like, what your signs are. I think it took me a little while to kind of figure that out, because there would be times where I'm like, doing the opposite of what I just said, where it's like, nope, you haven't gotten a lot done today. Like, you got to stay up and get it done. And doing that enough times to realize, like, man, like, I had a super unproductive weekend. I felt like crap the whole time. Like, is this what I should be doing, right? And the answer is no. Like, approach it differently. So kind of learning my signs, like, if you're tired, like, dude, go to sleep. It's not This lane's going to end, buddy. You can't drive there. You will learn. You know, it's not just add more caffeine. Like, that works a little bit. And yes, I will leverage caffeine to do that, but it's not that's not the silver bullet. There are times where I'm like, nope, adding caffeine right now is going to make me tired faster. You know, I'll just be more probably more anxious, but not any more alert. So don't do it. Not only that, I've learned over the past couple of years, unfortunately, fortunately I've learned this, that I have a big problem with caffeine. Like, I use too much caffeine, and I could have 200 milligrams of caffeine and go to sleep. And what I didn't know about this, and I actually had to go to a doctor for sleep. And I would tell them, like, hey, like, I have a lot of caffeine, but like, not really an issue, because like, I can always fall asleep. They were like, yeah, the problem is that when you have caffeine in your body and you're trying to sleep, the quality of your sleep is very poor. So that means you start the next day, you're completely you feel like you're completely underslept, and then you repeat the process. And I'm like, okay, yep, like, I've been doing that for over a decade straight. That's a problem. So I've had to dial back my caffeine. I try to finish my caffeine earlier in the day, that kind of thing. But yeah, like, it's not, like I said, you have to listen to your body. Like, if I'm getting tired, it's not just slap more caffeine in. But yeah, overall, I think that's what I have to say about productivity. There's a lot of random stuff. There you go. I just hope people don't fall into the trap of like a productivity trap, where you're just saying, like, I'm doing things and I'm being productive, but like, if you didn't really align it with what your goals are, then are you just being busy? Like, busy and productive are not the same thing. I probably should have said that right at the beginning of this and then shortened the video to about 5 seconds, but I hope you enjoyed. I want to remind folks that if you have questions you want answered, leave them below in the comments, or go to codecommute.com. You can submit your questions anonymously that way. And then I told you I would remind you again, but I have a couple of other YouTube channels. I have DevLeader, which is my C#, .NET, and AI programming tutorials. I have DevLeader Path to Tech, which is where I do my resume reviews, and I'll have some interview content there as well. And then I have the DevLeader podcast, which is interviews with other software engineers. They often share their career journeys and stuff like that, so you can see, you know, then there's people, you might see them on YouTube and you're like, hey, like, how did they get to where they are? And they share. I think it's really cool. And I also do live streams on that channel as well, which is the DevLeader podcast. That's 7 p.m. Pacific every Monday, which is tonight. That's in 1 hour and 15 minutes. So unfortunately, by the time you're watching this stream will have passed, but you can join the next one. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Take care.